What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Train, as usual. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about my top WNBA matchups. But before we do that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment, tell anyone about the show. I'm trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. And we'll be online. We'll be active Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. So I hope you stay tuned. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the opening week of the WNBA. And my top WNBA matchups, my seasonal storylines. Oh, it's going to be a fun time today, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get started. The opening week is coming up this weekend, actually. And it should be a good one. Listen, Wings versus Fever. All right? That should be spectacular. I think that's going to be on the 9th, right? May 9th. Should be a good day. Should be a very good day. Oh, my gosh. I'm excited. Because we get to see the last 4 number 1 picks go up against one another. We get the first true Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark battle. And as long as everybody healthy, we get to see that in action. Talking about Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, and A.G. Fudd. Ooh, that should be phenomenal. That should be really exciting to watch. I'm telling y'all. So I can't wait to see. Again, game 1 is not the end-all, be-all. But again, this should be spectacular. Next, we got the Aces versus my Sparks. Now, that's going to be on May 10th. All right, hear me out. You got Kelsey Plum. You got Dearica Hamby. They're trying to get their get-back against the Aces, who are defending champs. So we got to see, meaning the Sparks, what's our contending status like? And how do we go up against a team like the Las Vegas Aces? Now, keep in mind, the Las Vegas Aces, their first game is on the 9th. So it's the day before. So, I mean, how does that championship lull start? Does it actually start? Or are they hungry? They've been here before, so let's wait to see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, my Sparks need to show some hunger like none other. If we can't get hungry, especially when these girls have a chip on their shoulder, I'm going to be a little perturbed. I'm going to be a little pissed. Yeah, I am. I really, truly am. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if we can't do that, if we can't do what we need to do, I'm going to be a little upset. Also, I'm looking forward to watching the Atlanta Dream versus the Minnesota Lynx. These are 2 contending teams by my measure, okay? So it should be a good time for sure. But also, this should be a good barometer for the Dream because we know that they just acquired Angel Reese. So how do they stack against a team like the Lynx, who have lost a couple players, by the way? They drafted Olivia Miles, so let's see what happens with that. But this should be 2 good teams trying to figure themselves out for the playoffs. I still view them as contenders. Again, you got Nafisa Collier on one team. You got Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard on the other. And again, to back up Nafisa with this dynamic duo, you got Kayla McBuckets. You got a couple players on the team that can get a bucket, ladies and gentlemen, and defend, too. Nafisa Collier is former depoy before. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to see this game. And this is going to be the Lynx' first real look at somebody. Let's wait to see what happens. And we get to see Olivia Miles in action. Will she come off the bench? Will she start? Will Courtney Williams go back to 6 women? So many things to follow. But I cannot wait to see that matchup. We also got to look at here the new team's first games, right? The Portland Fire, the Toronto Tempo. Both of them have their first games starting off. And I can't wait to watch those games in action, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Portland Fire going up against the Chicago Sky. Personally, I think that's a good matchup for them, honestly. I don't think the Chicago Sky are going to do that much this season, but let's wait and see. Meanwhile, we got the Toronto Tempo going up against the Washington Mystics. That one is a little bit tougher. Now, could the Tempo end up beating the Mystics? Maybe. Let's find out. But that Mystics team should be hungry. So again, ladies and gentlemen, these are the first games by these orgs. I cannot wait to watch them for sure. This should be a good one. We also got the New York Liberty versus the Washington Mystics. This is more going to be the Mystics barometer, okay? How good are the Mystics going up against a team like the New York Liberty? Because the New York Liberty are deep. This is tough. They might be the best team in the WNBA, at least on paper. And this is going to be their first real test against a young Mystics team. Who knows? This could be a playoff matchup. This really could be a playoff matchup, ladies and gentlemen, especially if the Liberty dip or if the Mystics rise up. So again, I can't wait to watch Liberty versus Mystics. You got a youngish team. Not a youngish, a young team going up against a seasoned veteran team. This reminds me of like OKC versus the Spurs back in the day. This is similar to what we could be seeing because the Mystics have a couple of all-star level players on their team. So do the Liberty. So I can't wait to see that matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the opening week. And I already got 5 matchups. No, 6 matchups to follow. Always about to be some good times for the WNBA. I'm telling you that right now. And now that we're talking about, we got past the opening week, let's talk about the seasonal storylines, shall we? Top one. Who gonna challenge the Aces? And I'm gonna throw the Liberty in the mix too, because you had the Liberty lost early last season. But guess what? That's a chip on their shoulder now after being defending champs. So who's going to challenge the Aces or the Liberty? Like, I still can't get over how the Liberty acquired Satu Sabali while keeping Sabrina Ionescu, Stewie, and Jonquel Jones, and having the depth they do. Like, ridiculous. The fact that they got Leonie Feber still. Yeah, let's not get too much into it. Who gonna challenge them? All right. Also, are we gonna have new MVP blood? We've been seeing Asia. We've been seeing Stewie. We've been seeing Nafisa Collier. All right, cool. Anybody else gonna rise up to the rankings? Like, I know people are going to talk about Caitlin Clark, but how about Aaliyah Boston? Like, I don't even want to put Paige Bueckers into the mix just yet. Could we see someone like that? Or maybe, who knows, Gabby Williams, because she's going to be on the Valkyries. What if the Valkyries surprise some teams and become like top 4 seed? Hey, she might be MVP, bro. Just saying. So are we going to get new MVP blood coming in? Alyssa Thomas, can she finally win MVP? Maybe Ryan Howard or Alicia Gray off the Dream win MVP. Let's wait and see. But again, can we get some new MVP blood? I think there's enough talent in the WNBA to do so. So let's do so. Also, are there going to be any stars that are traded? Because with this influx of cash, maybe that makes people just sit tight a little longer and see what happens. But me personally, I've been waiting for a player like Arike Ogunbowale to be traded because I understand that Paige Bueckers is now the future of the Wings, and I said so when they drafted her last season. And I didn't think that was going to work out the best between her and Arike because one of them got to be the offensive weapon, and they need somebody to complement them defensively. Arike is not the defender that we need, and I don't want Paige to be a defender. Can she defend? Yes, but that does not need to be her primary goal. So I'm going to be curious if a star like Arike gets traded. And if so, where would she even go? That's going to be another discussion for another day. Hold on. Could she go to like Phoenix? Now that would be interesting, pairing her with Kalia Copper. And I may have taught myself something. May have talked myself into something. Let me find out. But again, stars traded. Let's see if that's going to happen. Also, the Wings' number 1 picks, Paige Bueckers, AZ Fudd. We understand that they could be in a relationship. I think they are. I don't know them personally, so that's why I say I think. But they've talked about it a little bit, but now they don't want to talk about it. I understand that. It could be viewed as too personal. I hear you. But there are some question marks around what happens if there's a tiff between the two. I understand that they played on UConn before. They have some history together. Maybe they can learn from Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner on how to be professional. But keep in mind, I got to look back and see when Alyssa and DeWanna started dating. Because if AZ and Paige are dating and they on the same team, I know some of the notions are, well, AZ only got drafted because Paige wanted her and they were girlfriends and blah, 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 blah. Let's wait and see how this unfolds. Because I am curious if they get into a tiff, what does happen? I can't lie to you. I am curious. I'm a Paige Bueckers fan. I've talked positively about AZ for the last couple seasons, before the injuries, of course. Still after. But I would be curious how that goes because they're young players. But I do have some faith in them to make it work, even if they don't themselves work as a relationship. I do have some faith because, again, they do seem like friends. They can possibly end on good terms if it even came to that. I'm not wishing that. I'm just saying if, because that's a possibility. But again, I'm going to wait to see what happens. And I know social media is going to be tearing that stuff up. Oh my gosh. Don't let one negative thing happen. They're going to blow it out of proportion completely. So that's going to be an interesting storyline to follow. New team production. right? We saw the Valkyries last season getting to the playoffs. Well, what about the Toronto Tempo? What about the Portland Fire? How are they going to do this season? Because the Valkyries already set a wonderful precedent for these two teams to be able to make the playoffs. I don't think they do, but to be fair, I said the same thing for the Valkyries last season, so let's wait to see what happens. I have higher expectations for the Valkyries this season because they, one, made it, but two, they've made the acquisitions that they've made. So they could actually make it to the playoffs. But the new team's production, how do they do? Because we're going to be talking about this again over the next couple seasons because we're getting new teams. So again, the better these teams do, or at least as long as they seem competent, that's going to make people feel a little bit better about these new up-and-coming teams. Next, we're going to talk about the playoff contending teams. Are there going to be any disappointments or surprises? I've talked about this with you all before on who I feel should be my playoff contending teams, right? We got the Mystics, we got my Sparks, we got the Fever, we got the Mercury, even the Valkyries. They can make a push for the playoffs. The Wings could make a push for the playoffs. I can see it, the Sky trying to make things interesting. I think the Storm miss out just a little bit personally. Could the Sun do it? I need to see BG and Tina Charles go off. But again, ladies and gentlemen, could we see some surprises based on my expectations? Or could we see some disappointments? Like, what happens if the Aces just don't make the playoffs? That just sounds weird to say. Or what happens if the Dream just falter or the Liberty just falter? Like, can we see something like that? I don't think so, personally. I really don't. What happens if the Mercury missed the playoffs? Would that be a surprise, a disappointment? Disappointment, yes. Maybe not a surprise. I could see a team maybe replace them because I have the Mercury being 8th seed, personally. It'd be funny, too, if they go up against the Liberty again. And don't let them win again. That'd be disgusting work. But, again, playoff disappointments. Playoff contending teams, disappointments. We could have it. And we could have some surprises. So I'm waiting to see who those are. Or if we have them. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, the Mystics development. I think the Washington Mystics are trying to build something special. I think they have some interesting pieces for sure. I don't know if they're going to be that mediocre team of the future, right? Like a team that looks stellar early on, but then turns into a mediocre team, never able to get over the hump. I think they're going to be able to get over the hump at some point in time, based on the players that we're seeing. I think they can. And again, they did a lot of drafting over the last 2 seasons. Now it's time to see these drafts come to fruition. I'm not talking about contending status this season, but maybe 2 seasons from now I could see that. Because their players are starting to develop more, get more mature, gain more cohesion. Let's see what happens. Also, the dominant forces of today get older. And as you get older, you lose a little bit of production. Yes, you get a little bit smarter, but you still lose a little bit of production. And this Mystics team, they do look pretty stellar. So I cannot wait to see the Mystics development. That's going to be a storyline for me over the next couple seasons. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So I am curious, one, what did you think about my opening week's games that I'm going to be paying attention to? Did I miss one for y'all? Let me know. And if it's your team, I don't want to hear no fan bias. I want to hear genuine hoops concerns, genuine hoop interests. Who you got? As well as a seasonal storyline. Notice how I didn't put rivalries up here, right? Because I don't think those are I'm not going to be focusing too much on that. I'll be paying attention to, for example, Paige versus Caitlin, but not as much as I did last season. Because last season there was that newness. Now I'm still going to pay attention to it. But it's not going to be my seasonal storyline as much as it would have been last season. Or who knows? Maybe I move it up there because Caitlin was injured last season. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, that nothing happens to anybody this season. But again, y'all heard my storylines. So did I miss one? Y'all let me know in the comment section below. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone, one, about the WNBA, but 2, about my show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you are all having a good one. Take care.